Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Make a Change. In fact, this is episode 13. I'm your host Katharina Schuster and this is my podcast Make a Change. In this podcast we're discussing everything training, nutrition, mindset. And I am a fitness and nutrition coach. I am an accredited sports nutritionist, got a diploma in health science and nutrition, as well as I am a qualified personal trainer. So over the last 12 years, I have worked with like over 500 people. 300 plus actually in the last 5 years since I have opened my first business. So that's like a little bit of an introduction. I probably say that every single time. But today we are going into a little bit of a topic about a question that I got asked every now and then. So the question is, how do my clients succeed and am I actually a good coach? So first of all, what is a good coach? I guess that's in a perspective of someone's eye. Everyone, I believe, has a different idea of what a good coach is for them. And so for me, because I had coaches in my life, I had nutrition coaches, I never had a PT actually, but I did work with a nutrition coach and in a psychology in combination to help with my disordered eating patterns in the past. But I never really had anyone like ongoing. Like the main thing was really helping me getting over emotional eating and binge eating. And I did have a coach throughout my first prep 2 years ago. And I did have a few business coaches. Also there in terms of business coach, the latest business coach I had, she was absolutely amazing. I would always hire her back. And but I did have 2 other business coaches. The one was fine, the other one was an absolute nightmare. But yeah, we all make our experiences, and in fact is at the beginning we do not really know much about this coach, so we kind of have to trust our instincts. So for me personally, it is I need to make sure that this coach is I have to have a good understanding with that person. It is good for me that this person is maybe at a similar age like me. For example, I'm now 37 years old. I'm getting like in that age where my body is changing again. So I really would like to have a coach where that person understands what I'm going through, because that person maybe has gone through that as well and is maybe also educated in this area of like late 30s, body's changing, like going towards perimenopause, these kind of things. That would be something that would be very important to me. Someone who is data driven is very important, because I am personally a coach who is very data driven. I rely on evidence, I rely on data, I do not rely on emotions. I also personally do not need a coach that pats my head or is like, oh, little Kate, oh, great. I don't need that. So I do not need any external confirmation how good I am or how not good I am. For me, it's good that that person is giving me structured feedback on what I'm doing or what I'm not doing. And this is the kind of coach that I am. Not very emotional. Of course, like over the time, I do have clients who've been with me for over a year. The longest client who has worked with me was 3.5 years. So of course, in that period of time, you do build up a relationship. So in saying that, I'm trying really, of course, I love to have a laugh with my clients. I love to have like a little bit of a joke, but also I'm trying to really keep that relationship on a personal, not a personal level, a professional level. And like I'm giving my clients, of course, I'm hyping them up. I'm telling them when they did something well. I'm congratulating them on their wins, because obviously I do not want to put them down. But I am not like patting your head. I am not complimenting you on everything. I am not telling you, oh great, you got a new PP when you already had like 20 PPs. All right, so you know what I mean? So of course, like I'm telling you, oh great, you've got a new PP, but I'm not so, oh well done, great, you hit another PP in like the 4th week in a row. You know what I mean? It's not that I don't complimenting that person, it's just I'm trying to be subjective, yeah? In terms of nutritional, because I do come from a background, I really struggled with nutritional because of my past, of my personal experience. So this is a topic where really my bread and my butter is. I studied nutritional to really understand nutritional strategies, to get a better understanding of how the body works in combination with food and different food strategies, what food is better for you in terms of dieting, what foods can you still include, but also like including foods like fun foods and still losing body fat. This is something I really had to learn and something I'm giving further to my clients as well, which is really difficult. And it took me years. Like I really had to have like hot cross buns and chocolate and Tim Tams, all that stuff I really had to keep outside the house when I was dieting because I couldn't control myself. But I wanted to learn having these kind of foods in the house and controlling myself when I'm being in a calorie deficit. And I did succeed in that, but it took me years, okay? And this is exactly what I want to teach my clients as well, that it is possible, but it does need discipline. So yeah, so this is long intro, right? So like my bread and butter, yes, I am a personal trainer, but I did study nutrition because nutrition is so much more important. Like when you see yourself, from my experience with all the people I worked with when I'm talking to friends, to random people, including myself, the going to the gym part is the easy part. The nutrition part is really the part where it gets difficult. And that's why the main thing is on nutrition in my coaching business. And if someone is not happy to track the nutrition, I do have a very hard time because I'm not expecting you to track your nutrition like for the rest of your life. I probably going to do that. I don't know what I'm going to do in 10 years. I really don't know. But I do track my nutrition no matter what. Sometimes I like when I'm on a holiday, I'm not really tracking. I'm tracking quite loosely, but I'm not really being exact. But when I'm at home, I'm being quite exact. This is just the way how I go. And it doesn't trigger me. But for everyone who doesn't want to track for the rest of their life, it's fine. But if they're starting coaching with me, I want you to track at least for the first few weeks or following a meal plan. And then ideally, when we are deciding to start with a meal plan, I want you to transitioning to tracking, because what tracking does is it actually educates you. It helps you to understand how much protein is in a chicken breast. So many times people telling me, oh, I just had 100 grams of protein with my lunch. I so, 100 grams of protein with your lunch? What did you have? I'm excited. And then says, yeah, I had a chicken breast with some rice or with some veggies, like very basic. Okay, so she had 100 grams of chicken breast. 100 grams of chicken breast is not equal to 100 grams of protein. 100 grams of chicken breast has 29 grams of protein. So, and this is exactly that part why I want my clients to track, because you learn how much protein is in a chicken breast or in a piece of salmon, how much carbohydrates is in a slice of bread or in a portion of rice. And then when you're cooking at home and like measuring out your food, putting it in your tracking app, you learn how big is 100 or 200 grams of rice? How big is that 100 grams of chicken breast? How much is 100 or 200 or 300 grams of potatoes? This exactly will help you when you're going out to restaurants, which is the next point. I still want you to go out to restaurants. And I believe every one of us is enjoying restaurant visits and maybe having a cocktail or a glass of wine. Yes, alcohol is a poison, but it's part of our society. I drink wine, but I'm not drinking the entire bottle, even though I want to, but I have one, maximum 2 glasses, okay? So, and then when I go to a restaurant, I know exactly when I'm ordering my rice on the side and having my steak, for example, I know the steak is 180 grams or 120 grams, whatever is on the menu. Then I know exactly, oh, that rice is roughly 150 grams because I know it, because I have been cooking at home and tracking and measuring out. So this is what I mean. So, and eventually you can go away from tracking because you have learned how portion sizes are looking like. So, and this is the whole idea why I want people to track. And so this episode is not a vanity episode telling you I'm perfect, because I'm 100% not perfect. And I'm also glad about this because I'm imperfect perfect. I love I'm being consistent. And this is also what I'm telling my clients. You do not need to be perfect. You don't need to wait for the perfect time. You do not need to have the perfect meal or the perfect structure, the perfect macros. What you need is consistency. And consistency is something that is completely underrated. All right, I got a little bit passionate. Let's have a quick brief. Let's have some water because my mouth is getting dry. And let's get on. So this is basically how my clients succeed. So my clients succeed by doing the thing. That's it. So how does it all start? It all starts obviously with a consultation. I'm asking many questions. Why are you here? What is your goal? What have you tried before? Why didn't it work out? Why now? Blah, blah, blah. And then we're getting on to this, and then we're getting to an agreement if we want to work together or not. And then we do the paperwork and we get started. So the first part, what I'm asking is a food diary. So I'm taking your measurements, your chest, your waist, your hips, getting you on the scales and taking your progress photos if you're happy to do that. And I would also highly recommend that, because like at the beginning, people are also a little bit shy of taking the photos, but your body will be changing. If you're working together very well, your body will be changing. And sometimes the scales is not reflecting that, but then you see it on the photos on how your body shape is changing. And this is exactly why we need the photos. Really, sometimes I do have clients that don't really want to do that. I mean, I'm not forcing them, but I'm really encouraging them. If they say no 5 times, then yeah, I back off. But I'm really, usually they said yes in the end. And yeah, so I will do my part then. So I'm calculating calories, macros. We're doing a movement analysis. Based on that movement analysis, I can then create the workout plan. So while I'm creating the plans, which is usually takes me 1 or 2 days, in the meantime, I'm asking that person to give me a food diary around 3 to 4 days, and then I'm comparing that food diary. So I'm estimating the calories. I've done that thousands and thousands and thousands of times. In a schooling setting, we had to estimate calories all the time. So I'm very confident with that. And also obviously working in this industry for over 12 years. And so then we're comparing the food diary with my calculation, and then I'm making an informed decision what our starting calories will be. And yeah, and then we're getting on training, nutrition, weekly check-ins, coaching sessions, and daily support for everything you need. When does a client not succeed? So now it gets a little bit spicy. So I did have a client. She's an ex-client. It happened just a few days ago, and she has been with me actually for 15, 16 weeks. So my contract is usually 16 weeks. And she wanted to get out of the contract. Since those 16 weeks were over, of course, she was free to go. I mean, the people are always free to go. I can't really hold them hostage. But I mean, there is a law, there is the Australian consumer law, and I can't, if they want to back out, they just can really. But of course, there is an agreement that I'm asking to sign, and it is a 16-week coaching program. And it sounds like, for most people, oh my God, 16 weeks. It sounds like a long time, but for everyone out there of you who is training for a specific goal, every one of you knows it's actually not a long time. And often for people, it takes a little time to get into it. So sometimes it takes people, from my experience, around 2-3 weeks to actually do what I say. Sorry, that's harsh, but basically do what I say. And then like 4 weeks are gone, and then we actually starting effectively working. And of course, we have the first 2 weeks where I need to confirm your TDEE. And once that number is confirmed, we can start a fat loss phase if fat loss is the goal. Most of my clients, I do have a fat loss goals, but I do have clients who also want to gain muscle and also just wanting to increase strength. So these are the main things. I guess it's also all very normal goals, all very normal. So that particular client went through a lot. So she's a woman, she was actually super, super busy. And she wanted to lose body fat. And I said, okay, we need to have a look at your nutrition. The problem was that I asked her for a food diary at the very beginning, which she did. And I said, okay, we need to, if this is like I asked a few times, it's really true, this is everything you ate. So basically cutting out all the carbohydrates, the calories overall, that was actually really, really low. I can't remember the exact number, but was around her BMR and far away from her actually TDEE. So I told her, from here we can't really do much. I don't want to get lower. So what we can do here is a reverse diet. So turned out over time, because then I set up the calories, which I thought was fine to start with, and her weight didn't change. So I increased the calories, the weight didn't change. So I did explain to her at the beginning, it is a reverse diet. A reverse diet is not there to lose weight. Ideally, we want to keep the weight the same, but the weight might increase a little bit, because basically we're putting you in a calorie surplus. And but we are also increasing like by 50 to 75 calories per week. So that is hardly recognized by the body. So we're doing that really, really slowly. And every week, every fortnight, depending on how we're going, we will be increasing the calories by 50 to 75 calories. And then we also check on the weight, see what the weight is doing. If the weight is going up too much, we have to back up a little bit. If the weight stays stable, we increase the calories a bit again until we are getting to her TDEE, or at least close. And then we need to confirm that number again, checking with the weight what the weight is doing. And then when that is stable, then we can safely start a fat loss phase. And that is a fucking long process. I went through a few reverse diets myself. I don't like it because it's so slow and it requires a lot of patience. But it is a tool that really, really helps us to just up our metabolism again, because when her her BMR, I think it was roughly around the 1400 calorie mark, and I think she was partly eating below that number. So in order to lose body fat for her at this point, we had to go like down to like 900, maybe 1000 calories, which I didn't want to take responsibility for, because that was already close to her caloric floor, where we would be just affecting her health. And on top, she's she started playing cricket again. She also wanted to train a lot in the gym, which I'm bookmarking here, so I'm getting back to the gym later on. So the problem was that she never actually reported her daily nutrition back to me. I kept asking, please send me your nutrition, send me your nutrition. And she says, oh, can you give me more workouts? I said, no, I can't give you more workouts. The workout program is efficient. I explained different techniques to her how we can make it harder. Like, for example, slower eccentric, increasing the weights, just like working under tension, and then like maybe pause, things like that. They're all strategies, meal sets, what is it, drop sets. And I said mostly because we did have a lot of pull exercises for her back. We can do like really slow concentric, slow eccentric. We can have like a pause before we're going back into the eccentric. And there's so many ways of really making a workout hard. And she did not apply it. And instead, oh, I want to go more cardio. I said, I was talking so much, and I just didn't think that we were not connecting, you know. And so I'm not bitching here, by the way. I'm just trying to explain why she didn't succeed with me. So the first thing, she always said that she didn't like the way how I talked to her. And I never asked. I probably should have asked, my bad. But it was always about, I talk to her in the way I talk to everyone. I am German. I'm very direct. As I said, I don't put any emotions in it. And it sounds quite harsh, and I'm very aware of it, but it doesn't mean that I'm impolite or don't show respect. In fact, I'm being very respectful, and I'm being very polite, at least in my opinion. And all of my other 26 clients never came up to me like that. And I do have like 150 testimonials. They're all achieved their goals and have been very, very happy with the service. So I think we just had a problem, the thing that she and myself, we were just not connecting on a personal level. I think that was the main issue. And she blamed me. I didn't have what it takes to get her to her goal. I said, no. I do have what it takes, but she never reported her nutrition back to me. So what I found out in between the coaching is that alcohol was a big topic, because she was working in a job that was very, very busy. She also traveled for work, and to come down and to relieve her stress, it was like 1 to 2 bottles of wine. This is something that she kind of let shine throughout the coaching, which the main issue was. So then she blamed me that I never hyped her up and never said anything nice. So actually I did, because in the app, when I watch everyone's workouts on a single basis, and I comment on every single person's workout. And I said, oh, that is great, great new PP. It's like I hyping everyone up. And it's not that I'm always being like cold, I'm hyping you up as well. And she held it up to me that I would never say anything nice. But I said, so look, I do acknowledge that, and thank you for being open and giving me that feedback, but I actually did do that. And also I screenshot everything, because she was very open in one part about a negative self-talk, that she feels disgusted when she looks in the mirror. And I said, yeah, okay, thank you so much for sharing this. And I really was in my opinion, I was very empathetic and very emotional at this part, and really gave her very structured feedback with 3 different strategies. I don't want to hold it up here because of course I didn't ask her for permission, so I can't really load this all up. I probably could. Sorry, I haven't had much water today. But I said, so your goal is fat loss. If your goal has changed, you need to tell me that. If you now wanted to go into a strength goal, you should talk to me that we need to change the strategy. But at this point, and I don't think anything has changed, your goal was fat loss. So fat loss, we have to go through the nutrition. And she never reported back to me about her nutrition. She gave me 1 day out of 16 weeks. And this is why she didn't achieve her goal. And yeah, so as I said, I'm not bitching here. Okay, it sounded like bitching, but I wanted to tell you from the point of view why this particular client did not achieve her goals with me. So another point, let's go back to the bookmark about the gym. So when you are in the gym, like I see it's not about that particular ex-client. It's like across the board. I do believe it is improving, but across the board it's still the thinking when you're going in the gym, oh, how many calories do I burn? Like checking with your watch, how many calories did I burn? Calories burning and losing body fat, it is not the same thing, okay? So when you are in the gym, focus on getting stronger, focus on progressive overload to build muscle, focus on your technique, on your form, focus on improving yourself. Don't think about how many calories did I burn, because firstly, those watches are not accurate. Secondly, it is not equal to fat loss. Fat loss comes down to a weekly calorie deficit. And you're not actually burning that much calories when you're training. You do burn calories, and it contributes to a calorie deficit. It does contribute to a calorie deficit for sure. But to create a calorie deficit only from training, that's gonna be really hard, almost impossible. I tried it many times before I started studying. When I first started out and had no fucking clue what I was doing, I thought, I need to do that, and at the beginning my body actually changed a bit because I increased my energy expenditure, but at that point there was my body adapting and it didn't change anymore, and I wasn't losing weight, I was not really seeing any changes. So I said, okay, what is the missing part? What I'm not seeing? I'm not seeing my nutrition. So when you want to make true changes to your body, your nutrition should be the #1 priority. #2 priority is your training, like your resistance training. #3 is potentially some cardio, especially if you do have a less muscular body. You probably need to do some cardio to create a deficit, a meaningful deficit to lose body fat. When you are living in a more muscular body, it's firstly, it looks better. You feel better, you got more energy. When you're having more muscles, you're burning more fat, like just sitting here. And not fat, energy. And you're just sitting, like sitting. And when you're moving that muscle mass, you're burning even more. So like 1 kilogram of muscle mass burns like 22 to 25 calories. So that doesn't sound like a lot, But if you're moving your whole muscles, everything, and you're moving it through your workouts, through your daily movements, that burns a lot. The more muscle, the more you burn. And the more you can also eat, the easier will fat loss be for you. And also, I've been lately listening to a lot of podcasts of Dr. Gabrielle Lyon. I'm pretty sure many of you have heard of her. And she actually prescribes the muscles as an organ system. And she's a physician. She has also a nutrition PhD. She studied nutrition, not sure what if it's a master degree or something else, doesn't matter. She does have a lot of experience in exercise and nutrition, and she's really highly qualified in this area. And she also says that we need to make sure we're focusing on muscle building and a high protein diet. And especially because I talked at the beginning about that I want a coach who is roughly my age, who's going through the body changing and all of the symptoms, and maybe even in the startup of perimenopause. I want someone who understands that if you have a higher muscular body, you will have less symptoms in perimenopause. I do believe that. I actually haven't looked up any research in that. I probably should do that. I will put it down in the caption after I have filmed this video. I do not have a script. I just talk. But I'm pretty sure also Dr. Gabrielle Lyon was talking about this topic. But it makes sense to me because when you are approaching perimenopause, menopause, your estrogen declines, and estrogen is bound to your muscle mass. So when estrogen declines, your muscle mass will decline too. So through the process of perimenopause, menopause, you actually decrease your metabolism by 200 to 300 calories, which is major. So at the moment, I'm maintaining my body at 2,400 calories. So when I'm getting to that stage and losing that amount of muscles, and therefore my BMR or my metabolism drops by 300 calories, I might be maintaining my body at 2,100 calories. So the way how I'm eating now, that would be that would be a calorie surplus for me, and this is how I would gain weight. And many of guys who are watching me, tell this your partners, your wives, and all the women who are watching this, make sure that you're going to the gym, lifting weights and eating a high protein diet, because that will actually help you to minimize that weight gain when you're getting to that season of your life. And I will do everything because I do not want to gain a lot of weight. So I obviously do know the background of what's happening, but you can also do that for yourself. You can educate yourself online. We have so much information these days. You can even Claude that or ChatGPT that, when you're. And in the end of the day, you have to trial with food, and there is where tracking comes in again. So you have to trial a little bit. Like for example, when I'm 2,400 calories is my TDEE, my total daily energy expenditure. So when I'm hitting that season of my life and I'm noticing I'm gaining weight, I probably need to go back to tracking, which I probably still doing by then anyways. And need to see, okay, I'm currently tracking 2,400 calories and I'm gaining weight. I probably need to go a little bit lower. So I would maybe go to 2,100 or 2,200 and start tracking again and observing my weight. So this is how I would go and see how that is going. And another topic what I probably would be looking into would be HRT. I do not have any knowledge about this, so I'm not going to talk about this, but I do know a doctor who's very qualified about it, so I probably will contact her about this, because I really do not think that with our knowledge and our medicine these days, my cats are doing something crazy outside, with our knowledge and with our technology and with the research that we have these days, I think we can certainly avoid all of these things. And this is now, we're coming to an end. I hope you have enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want me to talk more about. And I see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye bye.